Okay, hello everyone. Lara Ryan from Complete Test Success here. Today's live stream, we're looking at general training writing task 1. So this is probably the least popular of my live streams because the fewest number of people do general training. So normally you would expect about 25% of people to do general training and everyone else does academic. So this tends to be a little bit quieter. So if you are doing general training, that's a very good opportunity for you to get some feedback. Hey, Prav, good to see you here. You're excited? Good. And your test is on the 11th. What have we got? Another 7, 8, 9 days. So at this point, I would suggest just focusing on, the main problems you're having. Don't worry about vocabulary or anything like that. But you're doing academic, correct. So this lesson is not for you, Prav. We'll have more next week. Kawaljeet, hello to you. Welcome to the lesson. Okay. So if you're doing general training, what we will do in this lesson is look at a task 1 general training question. I will give you various tasks to complete, and I will give you feedback on those tasks. So the whole lesson is based on you producing some writing and me giving you feedback and showing you where you're going wrong. And then with that information, you'll know how to improve your scores. Zelik, you need general in the near future. Perfect. We're doing general today. Shivani, hello to you. Welcome. Thank you, sir, for arranged time for this session from your hectic schedule. You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Okay, so I'm going to show you a question, and the first task for you is to write the greeting for the letter. Okay, so here's your question. I want you to write the greeting. That's the first step. So share your answer in the comments, and I will explain if you have any mistakes, and together we'll build up a letter throughout the next hour or so. So just the greeting first. Hey, Kulwant, good to see you here. Ariana Clothing. Okay, perfect. Dear John. Okay, that's perfect. So what Kulwant and Ariana Clothing understand is that this is a letter to a friend. So all we're doing is adding dear, because that's what the question tells us to do, and the person's first name. Okay, that's perfect. So let me just tidy up this question, make it a little bit smaller, because we don't need any of this information anymore. Okay, so the first prompt. So let me just read the question. You had planned to visit your friend who lives in a different city but can no longer go. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, explain why you can't go. So that's the next task, is to explain why you can't go. Now, in the first paragraph, we're going to respond to that prompt, explain why you can't go. But instead of writing the full paragraph, what I would like first is for you to just write the first sentence of the first paragraph. Ariana Clothing, one thing, be careful with the punctuation. So you needed a capital D and a comma, a capital D for dear, because it's the first letter in the sentence, a capital J for John, because it's a proper noun, and you need a comma at the end. So lots of punctuation mistakes, 3 punctuation mistakes there. Shivani, dear John, perfect. Dear John. So again, Kawaljeet, you'll need a capital D for dear and a comma after John. And John is a very popular man today. Everybody's writing to John for some reason. Okay, so your task, write the first sentence of paragraph 1. So Lynn, that works perfectly. Ariana Clothing, very welcome, no problem. Just while I'm waiting for you guys to write that sentence, let me share my live feedback lessons with you. So as well as these live streams every week, I also have live feedback lessons on Zoom. Those are my free classes for my email subscribers. So if you just look in the video description, or you can see it in this comment here, click on that, you can sign up and you'll have extra support with me in those group classes. Dear Samarjeet, so this is fine, but is your friend have the same name as you? So is your name Simar and your friend's name is Simar? It's not going to be a problem. That's something very common. But just to make sure that, do you know what? It doesn't matter, because the examiner won't even look at your name. It actually doesn't matter. Okay, Kulwant, I won't be able to visit you as I planned a couple of months ago. We need more than this, Kulwant. So what I want is a direct answer to the question in the first sentence. So it says, explain why you can't go. So I don't want you to just say that you can't go, but I want the explanation. So I want the reason in the first sentence. Explain why you can't go. It's not a very strict requirement of the IELTS test, but for my students, I have found that the paragraph will be much better if you respond directly in the first sentence, because what you don't want is to respond directly in the last sentence, because then you haven't really developed that idea. So it said to explain why, put that explanation in the first sentence. So Kulwant, what you wrote is good, but I would just want, let's say, your sentence would be, I won't be able to visit you as I planned a couple of months ago because, and then include that reason in the first sentence. We would not put my like that. That's not normally how we would write a greeting. Talish, I hope this letter finds you well. We don't really need that. You can. It's not going to bring down your score. You can write that, but it's not going to improve your score. So really, because there is only 20 minutes to write your answer, I would say just skip that sentence. Also, you need a full stop at the end of that. Again, Ariana Clothing, so punctuation mistake there. Okay, Salik, I won't be able to arrive in your city due to the bad weather, unfortunately. Unfortunately isn't in the right position. We'd probably just put unfortunately at the beginning, because the word unfortunately is to show the person that there's some bad news coming. And I guess when you put it at the end like this, it does show your emotion towards it. What I would like as well is just to say when. So, like if you had planned to go there this weekend, we would say that I won't be able to go to your city this weekend due to the bad weather, or, I won't be able to go to your city next month. Well, it's unlikely. It would be so far away if we're talking about weather. But okay, so let me take that answer there. So let me just quickly jump into my YouTube channel and find Salik's answer. I'm going to add that because I like it, but we do need to fix it up just a little bit. Okay. Oh, and I've seen your second response, Salik. I see you have a bit of a longer answer here, so I'll just take that one. Okay, so this is going to be our first sentence of our first paragraph. I'm going to put unfortunately at the front. Unfortunately, I won't be able to. Won't be able. This is more when we're looking at grammatical structures, we tend to have longer structures for formal letters and shorter structures for informal letters. So this is a letter to a friend. So I'm going to change that. Instead of saying I won't be able, just say I can't. And rather than arrive, it's not about you can't arrive. It's, you can't go there. It's not about when you get to the place. It's about the journey. Unfortunately, I can't go to your city. And this is what I was saying. I wanted to add, say when. So I can't go to your city this weekend And again, due to, like I said before, that's more formal than just saying because. So we need to avoid this formal language. Formal language will keep our task achievement score down to a band 6. So we obviously don't want that to happen. So let's just change that to the more standard. Unfortunately, I can't go to your city this weekend because of the bad weather. Okay, now, as I had promised you last time, let's take that out. I can't go to your city this weekend as I had promised. Okay, unfortunately, I can't go to your city this weekend as I promised because of the bad weather. All right, that looks good. That's a good start. So now we need to finish this paragraph by further developing this point. Now, we've made the point already. So what's important is that we focus completely on this point that we've made. We can't go changing the topic or talking about other reasons why we can't go. Just stick with this one reason and completely develop that paragraph to about 60 words. Okay, so that's the next task for you. How would you develop paragraph 1? So based on Salik's response here, unfortunately, I can't go to your city this weekend as I had promised because of the bad weather. How would we develop this idea further? So we need to write another, let me just see, what have we already? We have about 18 words. So we're looking for about another 40 words in this paragraph. So that's your next task. Okay, so let me just find where that came from. Okay, Medamin, I hope everything is going well with you. I would like to inform you about our visit that I cannot manage it as planned. So that I would like to inform you about, that's very formal, so we wouldn't use that. Because I had emergency with my family outside the city. So you are making a lot of mistakes with punctuation. You need to leave a space after a full stop. You need to start a sentence, every sentence, with a capital letter. The word I is always a capital letter. We don't use a comma before because there should not be a space on the left side of a comma, but there should be a space on the right side of the comma. So punctuation is definitely something for you to work on there. Last week, I had planned to visit you because my car went out of order. Okay, so you'll need to make that clearer about why you're saying those things. So make it clear that you can no longer visit. Shivani, it will not be possible for me to meet you. No comma, because I have an important client to meet. So again, it will not be possible is too formal. So for a formal letter, that would be great. But this one is a letter to a friend. So we must say, I can't meet you. Just that. I can't meet you. And then if you can use contractions, so instead of I will not, it would be I won't. But in this case, we just say I can't. So keep it as informal as possible. Won't is formal or informal. Won't is neutral. It's not formal or informal. It's a grammar tense. So if you need to use it, you just have to use it. It's not about tone. I hope this letter finds you in radiant health. That's nice. You don't need to say it, but it sounds nice. It won't improve your score either, but I would genuinely just not worry about including that. Okay, let me just tidy this up, make it a little bit smaller so we can see more clearly. Okay, so Lynn, as you know, I have made a plan to visit you during the coming Christmas, and I'm sorry to inform you now that I have to cancel the trip because my parents are visiting me and it would be their first visit in this country. Yep, good. I wouldn't tell the person, as you know, I had made a plan to visit you, because we can assume that they do know that. So just go straight into, I'm sorry to inform you. Again, that's too informal. I am sorry to inform you now that I have to cancel the trip. So we would just say, unfortunately, I have to cancel the trip this Christmas. So you don't need to explain, like, don't write it. Don't write your letter to try and explain the context to the examiner. Write the letter to, the imaginary person in the letter. So don't write it for the examiner saying, they need to know that I had planned this trip, but you don't write it that way. You write it as if you're writing directly to the person in the question, not to the examiner. So just saying, unfortunately, I have to cancel our plans for my trip to visit you at Christmas. Like that would be fine. Ariana Clothing, unfortunately, I won't be able to visit you as we planned. Okay, and again, put the explanation in the first sentence. That's because my boss assigned me a challenging task and my deadline is so tight. Okay, but you know what? This is perfect. I would prefer if you put it in the first sentence, but it's still, you've done exactly what you need to do. Okay, Harpreet. So again, this is fine, but you don't need to include this in your answer. Samarjeet, sorry, I couldn't visit you on our planned day of meeting. So just this, sorry, I can't visit you as planned. That's enough. Because I have something urgent to do this week. That's not really an explanation. It is an explanation. It's very vague. I would prefer for you to say the exact urgent thing that you need to do instead of just kind of saying it more vaguely. I'd prefer it to be specific. Shivani, it will not be possible for me to meet you because I have an important client to meet that day. Perfect. Sir, for formal, instead of Dear John, can we write Hi Dear? No. The question tells you, let me just show you again. I'm after hiding it already, but if I go back, I'll just, here. At the end, it says, begin your letter as follows. Dear ... So they've literally asked you to start with dear something. So like, I don't see any reason to not follow the suggestions of the question. Like, they've literally told you to use dear. So I don't see any good reason not to do what they have asked you to do. Dear Simran, Harpreet, Simran should have a capital S, so it should be a big S for Simran. There was news about the air condition at advertisement that upset my plan. This is unclear, Salik. The air condition. So when we talk, like, you're talking about air condition, I'm thinking of an air conditioner in a house to keep the room cool. So I'm not sure what you mean. And then why you're talking about advertisements, I'm not sure. That upset my plan. So I know you're trying to develop your idea, but the vocabulary is making it difficult to understand. I could not be able to reach you at your destination due to some reasons. So first of all, could not is in the past, but the plan is in the future. So that's the incorrect tense there, Harpreet. And secondly, the reason is too vague. So basically you said, I can't go because I can't go, but we would like to have, a better reason, a specific reason. So like Salik had on screen here, because of the bad weather. So what we had earlier on, I can't go because of the bad weather, or I can't go because it doesn't matter what the reason is, but just make it a specific reason. So kindly dictate the written words because the screen is blur. Last week I was having issues with my internet. So last week that was my fault. But this week my internet is working just fine. So I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's probably the internet on your end, Kawaljit. So if you turn down the, like with a live stream, YouTube will automatically reduce the quality. of the video if there's an internet issue. So I feel it's likely on your end. Okay, Chinny, this looks good. The weather forecast had shown that it would be good. I guess they got it wrong this time because the rain is so heavy and causing major floods in the city. Excellent. So that's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, Chinny. That's brilliant. Okay, so let me just jump in again to YouTube. And I see, Chinny, you have another bit as well. Okay, so I'm just going to copy what Chinny has written. I'm going to add it here, and I'm going to tidy up any mistakes. But basically, the development is to continue talking about the weather. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay. So first off, what I would wonder is it getting a bit too long? So, you know, we have to write 3 paragraphs in 20 minutes. So we don't want our essay to be, our writing to be too long. 70 words, that's fine. That's fine. You know, aim for about 60. If you hit 70, that's fine. That's not going to be a big problem, but you don't want to go much longer than that. Okay, so let's tidy up any mistakes. The weather forecast had shown, the weather forecast had, I'm going to change this, had predicted. Because we're not talking about in the further past, so like we would need to use past simple, or if we want to use past perfect, we have to talk about something that happened further in the past. So it was raining all day, but before that is past perfect. So it had predicted that it would be good. Today I predicted that the weather, no, because the weather is here, so this is okay. The weather forecast had predicted that it would be good today, but I guess they got it wrong this time because the rain is so heavy and causing major floods. So this causing major floods is a consequence of the rain is so heavy. So we're going to change this. The rain is so heavy that it is causing major floods in the city. We'll just say here because that's where you are. Major floods here. I had been so again, you're using you're using past perfect when you need to use, so I already fixed it here, but you are also using past perfect here when you should have used past simple, and you're doing it here again. It's just I was so excited about this trip, but I can't get a flight out. They are all being cancelled without notice. So you're doing this as well. You're using a comma and just adding more information, but based on the structure, you need to decide how will you join this clause with this clause, and based on the content. So you cannot just add comma, more information, but I can't get a flight out because they are being cancelled without notice, because they are, I'm just going to add all. All right, this is a really good paragraph. Okay, so between Salik and Chinny, we're after putting together a very nice paragraph there. My only concern is it is a little bit long. It is 73 words, so a little bit long. And the issue with it being long is that, firstly, we only have 20 minutes to write our essay. And a lot of students will say, but oh, it's no problem, I can write way longer in 20 minutes. But yeah, you might be able to write longer, but you won't be able to get a higher score. What you should be doing is write shorter paragraphs, and then when you're finished, go back, correct as much of the vocab and as much of the grammar as you can. So that would be a better score than writing longer paragraphs that don't need to be longer. Okay, so far I'm happy with the paragraph, except that it's a little bit long. Okay, so that brings us to the second prompt. And my question is just like before, or my task is like before. I want you to write the first sentence of paragraph 2. So that would be responding to the second prompt up here. Apologize for the short notice. So that's the next task for you guys now. Apologize for the short notice. But again, I just want the first sentence. And remember, I want you to respond directly to the prompt in the first sentence. Shivani, the weather is going crazy for some days. Good. Informal language like that is absolutely perfect in a letter to a friend. The weather is going crazy for a few days. According to the news. So if you're talking about the news, it's because you saw it there instead of you saw it with your own eyes. Also, the government has warned us not to go outside of the house. So one thing there with coherence is and cohesion is that you're saying that you saw the weather is bad on the news, but you are in the place where the weather is bad. So like what would be unclear here is why you need to look at the news to discover that the weather is bad instead of like looking out the window or being there. So that little bit is confusing to me. Don't we need a context to explain something? Well, I mean, the reader is your friend, and you already plan to meet them, so they would know that already. So no, what we've done is perfectly fine. Ariana Clothing. As of predictions this week, every regions are going to experience heavy rain and there might be floods all over the country. So I think it is not safe to travel. It's not safe to travel. As of predictions. So this is just a vocabulary mistake. So the word forecast is what you're looking for, where the people predict the weather forecast. So you can see it here from Chinny's answer earlier on. The weather forecast. So that's the vocabulary that you were looking for, instead of as of predictions. But the rest of it looks good. It's a good response and good development. Hello, Emma. Watching from Bangladesh. Great. Good to see you here, Roxana. Google Doc. Yep, perfect. I understand that completely. You're doing exactly what I asked you, Ariana Clothing. Raj, good evening to you. Simarjeet, due to the volatile nature of the weather in your city, I checked the weather conditions of your city. You know, we already said in your city, so we don't need to say of your city again. That's already clear. It showed heavy rain and storms. So storm, the spelling is incorrect, but it also should be plural. So it would be risky to drive, and that's why I have cancelled this visit. And that is why, so very formal to say I have cancelled this visit. So because you're talking to a friend, you would just say, and that's why I can't make it this weekend, or whatever time period you want. Hey Gaurav, good to see you here. So sorry I couldn't tell you earlier. I understood exactly. That's perfect. I'm really sorry for not being able to inform you or send any messages in advance. That works. Good. So Kawaljit is responding to the task we have here. Write the first sentence of paragraph 2. Okay, so Kawaljit. So I'm going to copy that. We're going to add it to our what have I done wrong here now? To our letter. Okay, I'm really sorry. So again, for not being able to inform you would be grammatically correct. For not being able to inform you or send you a message in advance. But again, what we're looking at here is a little bit formal. So I want to change this. We don't want to have any formal language in our essay. So I'm really sorry that I couldn't tell you send you a message earlier. Okay, and now it's exactly what Qualjit wrote, but I've just made it informal. So I had to change a little bit to make it informal. The content is there, but the formality, the tone wasn't perfect. Okay, so that's just exactly what we needed. And of course, what we need to do now is we need to develop this paragraph. So just like before, we want to have about 60 words in total, and we can only talk about this particular thing. These are the prompts that are probably most challenging, because it's like, say you're sorry. Okay, you said you're sorry, but now you still have to write about 60 words about being sorry. So I think the most challenging ones are generally saying sorry and saying thank you, because you can do that in 1 or 2 words, but you need to make it a 60-word paragraph. Okay, but regardless, that's what we need to do. So how would you develop paragraph 2? You can talk about why you're sorry, or, like, how you feel about upsetting your friend, or whatever, how excited you were to go and that made you even more sorry. Whatever way you decide to develop it is fine, but we do need to stay focused on that being sorry for a full 60 words. Okay, so I'll leave that with you. How would you develop paragraph 2? So we have the first sentence. How are we going to finish it? Hi, Jashanpreet. Shivani, I'm sorry that I have not informed you before, because the weather was all okay till last night. There was no rain at all, but from this morning, it just got too heavy. We say the rain got too heavy. So again, with tone, I'm sorry I have not informed you. That's too formal. So that will keep your task achievement score down to a 6. Till, that's good. That's an informal one. And then you need to improve your punctuation. So like after okay, full stop, till last night there was no rain at all, but from this morning, it just got too heavy. So punctuation would be something to work on, like when a sentence starts and when a sentence ends. So sentence structures and punctuation there, Shivani. But the content is good. Ginny, I'm really sorry for the short notice, but it's because I had hoped the weather would be as predicted. Okay, I'm going to add that little bit. I'm just really sorry that I couldn't tell you or send you a message earlier. Because I had hoped the weather would be as predicted. Okay, so that's good. So here's the reason. You're making an excuse for your mistake. That's pretty common. When we do something wrong, we want people to understand why we made that mistake, instead of allowing them the opportunity to think that we made the mistake because we did not care about them. We'll show them the reason why. So yep, that's good, Ginny. But obviously, we still need more. We're not there yet. We're currently at 23 words. So we're looking for another 40, about another 40 words. Salik, I agree. Let me say sorry for not being able to make it there. So just the grammatical structure, but yeah, the content is acceptable there. So, sir, is it general training class? So what time for academic? Academic, God, I don't recall now. Did we do academic last week? I cycle through, so I do a different one every week. I don't remember exactly, but we do task 2, task 1, general training, task 1, academic, speaking, Q&A. And I just cycle through those. I genuinely don't remember when academic is coming up, but this is general. Yeah, this is general. Hello, Gopal. Hello to you. Amma. I'm very sorry, bro. Yeah, you can say that. I couldn't able to go there. I'm not able to go there, and I hope you don't mind too much. Okay. So let's take that. I hope you don't mind too much part. Okay, so you're in Facebook. Can I find this now? Hope you don't mind too much part. So we wouldn't say. So what you said was, I think you don't mind too much. You don't mind. I think you don't mind. But you know, it's their. It's their. It's up to them to feel the way they feel. So we wouldn't say, I think you don't mind, but we could say how we feel. So we say, I hope you don't mind. So we're not telling the person what to feel. You're just showing that you really do care about the situation. So you're right to talk about this, but just the phrase itself wouldn't be suitable. So let's say something like this. I really hope that you don't mind too much. Because we were both excited about this trip. Or let's say, because I know you were. Because I know you were excited about this trip. So instead, I changed that we were to I know you were, because we're focusing on our friend not being too disappointed. Okay, good. So we're getting places. We're certainly building up on top of it, but we still need about another 20 words. Okay, so we're still on the same task. We need to finish the paragraph. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, Kaljit. Let me say sorry that I could not make it there and have to call off my plans, plural, or call off our plans without informing you in advance. Informing you is too formal. So without telling you in advance, or without telling you earlier would be better. Yep, so that works. That's just some language mistakes, but the content is appropriate. If I had known there would be such extreme weather, I would have told you in advance so that we could schedule another time to meet. Okay, yeah, that works. So let me grab that one. So with the other students that I didn't copy, it's not that you were wrong. It's just that it doesn't really fit with the context of what we have already written. So if you're wrong, I told you you're wrong. All right. If I had known to expect this weather, I'd have already arranged another time. All right, I think that looks good. Tools seconds, word count 59. Perfect. I'm really sorry that I couldn't tell you or send you a message earlier because I'd hoped the weather would be as predicted. I really hope that you don't mind too much because I know you were excited about this trip. If I had known to expect this extreme weather, I'd have already arranged another time to meet you. Perfect. Okay, I like it. Good. So that brings us to the final prompt. Suggest a new time to visit. Okay. So again, I just want the first sentence. Just the first sentence. Let me see the first sentence, and then we will know for sure if we're on the right track. Okay. So, suggest a new time to visit. So you remember that you want to respond to the prompt in the first sentence. So make sure that you do that. Okay. Yes, sir, because I'm an academic student. Yep, no problem, Jashanpreet. You're welcome to stay here, but it would be better use of your time to, focus on the academic test. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm not saying to leave, but I'm just saying in general, time is very precious. So if this doesn't help you, I think it would be better to, use your time for things that will improve your score. Shivani, but I was wrong, and the heavy rain has continued until now. Good. Some grammar mistakes, but good. I had packed my bag to visit you and was very excited, and I forgot to check the weather. The problem here now, Simerjeet, is it's not consistent. So if you remember in the previous paragraph, we said the weather forecast had predicted that it would be good today. So we actually did check the weather. So the problem then would be that for coherence and cohesion, you're saying one thing, now you're saying a different thing. That's confusing. I checked it this morning and it made me upset. So it spoils my mood, and I forgot to tell you that I can't come. Okay. But what you're doing is good in that, you're developing the idea that you're sorry. You're doing that well. Some grammar mistakes, some spelling mistakes. But my main issue would be the fact that we just said that we had checked the weather forecast in the previous paragraph. So that would be the one that would concern me most. Chini, I know this isn't what you were expecting because of all the shows and activities we had planned to attend during my trip, but I am as sad as you right now. Good job, Chini. Kawaljit, about the delay of this trip. Oh, I missed that one. What's this about? I'm not sure what that's about. Okay. Sir, I face a lot of difficulty in reading, writing, and speaking module, especially in reading because I always got 4.5 band in real exam, but in practice I got 6 or 6.5, so I have no idea about that. I would just say that you're using fake IELTS practice tests, and that's why your scores are so different. Or maybe you are spending way longer doing the tests in your practice, or maybe you are incredibly stressed in the test. But try to identify what's going on. Try to figure that out. Salik, I suppose we will meet each other next month at your location if everything will go in the right direction. Some vocab mistakes here, Salik. You're going a bit too far with the vocab. And you're not really suggesting a new time in this paragraph. So I suppose we will meet. That's not you suggesting a time. It's still undecided when you say that. I suppose we will meet, but if you don't arrange it, then you're expecting your friend to arrange it, which might be okay. But the the question prompt says, suggest a new time to visit, and you haven't done that. So that I wouldn't put that into my essay, into my letter. Shivani, we should make a plan for next month as the winter will start and there will not be any problem. Okay. We should make a plan for next month. But again, okay, that is suggesting a time. We should do that. So you're making that suggestion. Okay, that works. Shinny, will you be free in the first week of September? Good. The rains would have stopped, and I heard the rock band will be coming that weekend. Okay, that works. That's good. What I'm confused about is the rock band. Will your friend know what the rock band is? I think that would be a bit unclear. Because if it's the same rock band, you probably use the name of the rock band. Not say the rock band, but use the name of the group would be more natural. I assume that in 2 weeks the weather will have become much better. So if it's okay with you, we can see each other then. Okay, I'm going to take that one. This is some grammar mistakes, but we can fix them. So let me just get that up and we'll drop that in here. I assume that in 2 weeks, the weather will be better again. So if it's okay with you, we can see each other then. Good, I like it. Okay, now obviously, we need to develop this for another we need to write a full paragraph. We're not going to have time to do that right now. But obviously, we would need to finish developing that paragraph. We're not going to do it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make sure that you know how to sign off. So, we're doing what we would do with this paragraph is the same thing we did with the first and second. We would develop that idea further until we have about 60 words. So I'm confident that we know how to do that. So before we finish the lesson, I want to do this. I want you to tell me, how would you sign off this letter? So in the comments again, show me how to sign off the letter, and then we'll be able to add it to what we already have. So just remember, it's a letter to a friend. So we need an informal sign off. Amma, I wonder to meet with you in the last weekend of next month if you will agree with me. So the grammar isn't right here. Let's say, I wonder if it would be okay with you to meet in the last weekend. On the last weekend of next month. What do you think? Something like that. Hello, Punjabi status videos. Simranjeet, I suppose the first week of next month would be great to get together. So again, not I suppose, you're the one making the suggestion. So you have to suggest. If you say I suppose, it's not directly suggesting. It's just kind of leaving it, what we would say, up in the air, that there's nothing really, there's no real action being taken when you say I suppose. So I would advise against that. Part of the shows wouldn't really be clearer, Chinny. Sir, I'm practicing on Makar reading test volume 3. Use Cambridge tests. Cambridge produced the IELTS test, so their ones are reliable. Makar, even if they did a great job, you wouldn't know accurately what score you'd be capable of. So use the Cambridge ones. Time of academic class. It'll be another Tuesday. You're the second student who asked me now, so give me a second. Academic. academic was last week. So the next academic task 1 will be 1, 2, 3, another 4 weeks. Next week is speaking. That's the same for academic in general. Q&A after that, task 2 after that. So all of those are suitable for general training and academic IELTS. And then the following week, so it'll be 4 weeks from now, will be general training, task 1. Ginny, best wishes. Perfect. Best wishes, Ginny. Perfect. Good, good, good. I'm going to add that. Okay, that is our essay. Let me zoom out a bit here. Now we can see it all together. So obviously paragraph 3 isn't finished. I know you realize that already, but just to make it 100% clear. Kawaljit says, good job, Ariana Clothing. Shivani, keep in touch. We'll just go with best wishes. We'll try to keep it as appropriate to the letter writing style that IELTS wants. Hope to see you soon. Again, like the first sentences where you're saying, I hope you're keeping well, it doesn't improve your score. So let's just focus on the things that we really need to do. Hoping to see you soon. Again, I wouldn't worry about that. Just straight into best wishes, best regards. Absolutely fine. See you soon. It's not wrong, but I'm more comfortable with best wishes or best regards because it is the more conventional writing style of a letter. I think more naturally writing in these days, like that's something that you wouldn't consider as a weird thing to write in a letter, but because it's the IELTS test, I prefer to keep it more strictly to the way that that we conventionally write letters in English. If you have free time on the last weekend of the month, then we will meet to spend a memorable vacation. A memorable vacation is very formal again. So just go with like, then I would love to meet you then. Say that. So if you are free on the last weekend of next month, then I would love to meet you then. And then we would develop the idea. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Quality, sir, is it possible to arrange one class of GT reading class this week? No. No, I'm all scheduled up already. The live feedback lesson tomorrow is on task 2. So it's not, I have my live feedback lesson on August 31st is for reading and listening. So let me share that link. It's the same link I shared with you earlier. It's the same link you'll find in the video description, but just in case, those lessons on Zoom, my free live feedback lessons on Zoom. So if you want to join those, but like I said, they're all scheduled already. So it's August 31st is the next reading and listening lesson, but you're more than welcome to join. Harpreet, as soon as the weather is better, I'll plan to visit you. No. Well, is that a time? Suggest a new time to visit when the weather is better. You're right, but it's not a fixed time. I prefer for you to say a specific time. Hello, Manny. Okay, no issues. Anyway, thank you so much for your precious time. You're very welcome. Ariana Clothing, thank you so much. You're welcome too. Emma, you're very welcome. Okay, so like I said, that's it. That's it for today. I'll be back next week with more live streams, and those will be for general training and academic. I should have another video out on Thursday. And like I said, those live feedback lessons, if you want to join me tomorrow, just sign up with that link. There's my email address if you need to contact me. That's about it. That's us for today. Simarjeet has a test on the 11th. Best of luck with that. fingers crossed you get your scores first time. Okay, everybody, take care of yourselves. Good work today, and talk to you again